Remember the time when the Golden State Warriors were recognized as the team to beat, the team that has broken many records, most commonly known as the only team in NBA history to crack 73 wins with 9 losses. Well, this same exact team that was able to win 73 games was the team who blew a 3-1 lead to none other than LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers in what is considered one of the best final series in NBA history in the 2016 NBA season. They then managed to get Kevin Durant from free agency in order to enhance their team's potential to their limits, and they were all of a sudden recognized as arguably one of the best teams the NBA league has ever witnessed. This team went from winning 73 games to becoming even more unstoppable by pairing Kevin Durant alongside Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and other great bench pieces that they had at the time. This team was able to record a record of 16-1 in the 2017 postseason, putting it in the history books as the best postseason record any NBA team has ever had, and that record is still yet to be broken. But then we get into the 2019 finals, and this team fell apart to the Toronto Raptors in 6 games, causing Kevin Durant to leave in free agency along with their great role players such as Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston, etc. to resign from the team as well. Ever since then, this team hasn't been as dominant as they once were, and they are currently no longer viewed as the team to beat in the NBA league. NBA fans think the Warriors' reign of winning championships are over, but they may have a plan in order to get them right back into playoff contention.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining.
What is up, you guys? It's your boy Elifye back at you with another video. Just wanted to give you guys a quick thanks for the recent support for my videos as of lately, and we will continue to grow as time goes on. But in today's video, we will be discussing what the Warriors can possibly do in order to potentially put them back in talks for being a serious contender and possibly win another NBA championship before Curry, Klay, and Dre retires or leaves their prime. Before we start today's video, just gonna ask you guys for a quick favor to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and if you guys want, you can comment down below any future video topics that you guys would potentially like to see. But other than that, let us start today's video. So let us put some context to the equation. This team was able to draft all 3 players regarding Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, and this is still a solid core for this team that currently has all of the playoff experience that they could ever ask for, and they seek to win a couple more championships before their time in the NBA league is over. But this team has suffered some very uncontrollable circumstances that puts them 2 steps backwards from being the team that they once were. Kevin Durant gave this team another boost of elite scoring and star power, and losing a player within that caliber is obviously a huge loss and is very tough to come back from. But then you add on the fact that Curry, Klay, and Dre has to essentially play with a completely different Warriors team, and that marks another circumstance that completely hinders this team from seeing success. The main thing that the Warriors possessed was an ample amount of star power along with great depth, which is why they were very dominant for half of the 2010s decade. But then you take away all of their depth and replace their old players with players who are still very young, and they are just getting their feet wet in the NBA league, serves as something that this team is going to have to eventually adjust to. And let us not forget to mention the terrible luck that this Warriors team had to face. Coming into the 2020-21 season, this team was viewed as something that was going to be considered a threat to possibly take down either the Clippers or even the Lakers in the Western Conference. You consider that Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry has missed basically the entire year in the 2019-20 NBA season due to injury, but you would assume that they will come back into this current season strong and healthy. Well, that's half of what happened. Curry is of course putting up MVP type numbers, but Klay Thompson has literally suffered another injury, causing him to miss the entire season once again. So now the Warriors has to adjust towards another year missing one of their best shooters and defenders in Klay Thompson, and this is obviously something that the Warriors are lacking looking at some of the games they have played this season. The Warriors are currently sitting at the 10th seed with a record of 24-27, and they are barely holding on to that play-in tournament position. Imagine if Klay Thompson was present person for this team this season, this team would be way better than they currently are, and they could have been a team that could cause some problems for other playoff teams within this upcoming postseason. But let's just face it, even if Klay was present for this team, the Warriors wouldn't be able to win a championship with the team that they currently have. So they can take some possible considerations that I have come up with in order to enhance this team's level so they can have another shot at winning a championship. So I have had a couple conversations with a relative of mine about what this team could possibly do, and he gave out a suggestion that the Warriors can potentially look into within the trade market in order to get a player that could produce great production. So we glance at some NBA teams that seem like are going to be rebuilding, and we consider the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors this season are nowhere near where they want to be if they seek to win a championship, so they are expected to, of course, rebuild, and they are assumed to have high value for first round picks. First round picks? That is something that the Warriors currently have as well. Fun fact, did you know the Warriors currently has the Minnesota Timberwolves draft pick for this upcoming draft class? And look at what the Timberwolves are doing this season. This Timberwolves team will have a high draft pick, and that pick will be going to the Golden State Warriors. Considering this, the Raptors can potentially seek high value for this specific pick, and maybe the Warriors can look into a trade that can supplement their core with even more depth. The trade that we came up with involves Andrew Wiggins, who is currently having a reasonable season, along with the Timberwolves draft pick. The Warriors will offer Wiggins and this pick to the Raptors for Pascal Siakam. Siakam is very valuable to the Raptors, but if they're seeking to play more for the NBA draft and they simply want another player other than Siakam who can actually be that first option, then it wouldn't be a big surprise if the Raptors would accept this trade. So then, we will be going into the next season with this team starting lineup consisting of Curry, Klay, Siakam, Draymond, and Wiseman. On paper, this would look like a lineup that could cause some great damage, but I have high confidence that this lineup on paper will play up to their potential. Obviously, they will be swapping Wiggins with Siakam, and Siakam is no doubt the better player. He will provide great defense and hustle for this team, and he is a reasonable scorer, and we have already witnessed what Pascal Siakam was able to do when he was the second or third option on a championship Raptors team. The only problem with him is that he can't be the first option for a championship team, so he would be the third option for this Warriors team behind Klay and Steph. The Warriors has an option. They can either go along with this trade or they can settle with potentially drafting a great player within this upcoming draft class. The only con for this strategy, however, is the fact that the Timberwolves pick they have received is top 3 protected, and if they land top 3 in the lottery, then that pick will serve for no value if you aren't the Timberwolves. Even then, there were many cases where the worst team in the league fell from top 3 and landed top 4 or top 5 and so on, but this is still something that the Warriors will have to consider if they were to go with the plan of keeping Wiggins and the first round pick. Now, according to Def, this team currently has role players that are decent but not the greatest. The good news about this is the fact that they have players who are still very young and can essentially develop their game to greater heights in order to become key pieces for a championship roster. You consider players such as James Wiseman, who has high potential and was the second overall pick in the 2020-21 NBA draft, Eric Pascal, who is a beast in the paint and can shoot mid-ranges or threes occasionally, and then you consider Jordan Poole, who literally had a stretch where he averaged about 20 points per game during that time period. There are more players on this roster that has shown great promise, but these players in my perspective have shown the greatest potential, and they can eventually take their games to the next step to be consistent role players. And there is also an option for slightly reconstructing their team by trading a couple of their players to get better role players in return, but at the end of the day, teams will have to go with this same process regarding developing their players and making trades in order to get their team to the level of contention. But other than that, that will conclude today's video. What do you think about my takes for this team? Do you think this team will be better, or do you think they will be worse? Comment down below what you guys think, but make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. I will greatly appreciate it. I'm out. Peace.